Alright. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Generic Vegan Podcast. So just to tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life. Sorry I wasn't able to upload a podcast last week. These last weeks of high school, pretty busy. Gonna graduate in 2 days from high school. That's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah. So I had some time tonight, and I think I thought it would be a good idea to record this podcast. So yeah, I have a few interesting pieces for today. Our first piece is titled "KFC Customers Divided Over Vegan Advert Urging People to Buy Burger." So I just opened that up here. I should probably boot up my screen capture software pretty quickly. Screen recording. Click to record. Alright, sweet. Alright, so as you see from the article picture, and a lot of you might have already heard about this KFC advert in the news. You might have heard it from another podcast if you listen to podcasts. Ignore the camera moving. That's just my cat slapping it. So yeah, even people who aren't vegan have taken some interest in this advert just because it's so blatant. I mean, you have this advert. It says, "Try one before you turn vegan," in big bold lettering, red and white lettering, and it's like this crazy meat concoction. It seems like it has chicken, bacon, cheese, ham, burger buns. All in all, it's just very. It kind of reminds me of Arby's in how they market it, because Arby's advertising. Whoever their marketing people are basically have a model that goes meat, meat, meat. That's literally how they end their ads. So yeah, all in all, I think this is kind of a silly ad. Not silly in the fact that it's funny, but just silly for a few other reasons. Like, for one, they're actually working on a vegan alternative to chicken. They've in the UK. I can't remember exactly what chicken is supposed to be made out of, but it's going to be a very big improvement on KFC's vegan menu. As of now, I'm not sure if it'll be coming to the US, but right now, the US options for vegan menu items at KFC are fries, corn on the cob without butter, green beans, and house salad with golden Italian light dressing. Now, I'm not sure about you all, but that doesn't sound like a good meal to me. That doesn't sound like something I'd want to pay money for. I understand that. Like, it's a meme. When you go out to, it's a vegan meme. It's like, oh, you go to a restaurant, and what is the menu? What is the only option on the menu? Fries. What do we survive off of? Fries. And people like to make jokes about how we live off of grass or something, but as another podcaster put it, Felicia Falconer from the Vegan Inquisition, vegans don't eat grass. It would be more accurate to say that vegans eat fries. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty interesting contradiction. This very meat-based ad versus the vegan tests they're doing. I think actually in Thailand or somewhere, there's actually already vegan KFC options in Vietnam locations, a sandwich and a salad because they want to appeal to the local Buddhist population, which, I mean, makes sense. They are a largely less meat-eating country than we are, and I guess other animal products too. So I think overall it could also be a locality problem here, not just a a bad marketing decision, because this ad was run in the U.S. The U.S. doesn't seem to have any vegan options coming in, so I'm sure they wouldn't run this ad somewhere in like Thailand or maybe not even the UK. It doesn't exactly say here whether they ran it in the UK as well, but I'm going to assume that they didn't because everything I've seen points to it being a US based ad. Yeah, honestly, I just the synopsis of this is it's a bad marketing decision. It's kind of a weird ad. I mean, I guess if they're trying to appeal to their hardcore meat eater customer base, which honestly is 99.99999% of people who go there are going to eat the chicken there. So I guess it's a good marketing decision in that aspect. But there are a few comments here I'd like to read out, because obviously Facebook is a hub for social interaction, and yeah, there are a lot of opinions here. Mickey Flynn says, "I'm no vegan, but this does have marketing disaster written all over it." One of my personal favorites by Storm Alexandria Streamland says, "KFC is now that annoying try-hard guy that comments bacon on vegan posts. Maybe stick to your $5 box of trash." And I also want to keep things neutral, even though this isn't exactly a neutral podcast. This is a vegan-based podcast. I want to read one that's actually in support of an ad. Here we go. Matt Harris says, "While there's chicken and KFC on this planet, I am never going vegan." Yeah. I mean, it always just annoys me a little bit when people say they can never go vegan, but you know what? They truly believe that they can't. They think that it's a roadblock, a obstacle. I mean, some things in it are obstacles. Like, I mean, I guess you could even consider this ad an obstacle, as small as it may be. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about this debate, to be honest, about this weird ad thing. Yeah. If I figure out how to open up for questions, I'll ask you guys what you think of the ad. I think now would probably be a good time to switch into the snack drink break. So today, on my first podcast, the one about vegan jerky, veggie discs, and vegan shoes, I talked about this Primal jerky. So I decided I'd try that on the podcast today. Out of the two out of the 3 episodes now have some sort of jerky in them, so good for that. And Spindrift, it's like LaCroix. I can never pronounce that right. LaCroix? The really fancy sparkling water. This is like that, but better because it has real fruit juice in it. Of course, I forgot to refrigerate this one as well, but it still tastes good. Bone out the teeth. Yeah, for sparkling waters, I'd give this one about a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Not the best sparkling water I've ever had, but it's still very good sparkling water. I don't really know what I'd consider a 10 there, but if you have a Costco near you, or I think other stores sell it, like possibly Safeway or Target or whatever big box store you might have near you might sell it. Yeah, so I recommend picking some of that up. It's a little on the pricey side, but sometimes sparkling water and beverages are like that. And now I'm going to be trying the Primal Jerky. This is hot and spicy flavor, made with shiitake mushrooms. I thought that was pretty cool. They also, I mentioned this on my other podcast, but they also make some of their jerkies out of, I believe, seitan, and seitan is wheat gluten, and tofu, I believe. So let's try this out, or I'll review it for you. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good jerky. It has a nice form. You can actually chew on it. It doesn't just like fall apart in your mouth. Um, it's a good flavor because it's like spicy without being too spicy. Because a lot of spicy foods can make it overly spicy. Yeah. My cat, you can't really see her, but she's sniffing out the air, trying to understand what I'm trying to eat. She's off to the left, right over there. Silly cat. Alright, so yeah. Another news piece I wanted to look over is titled Vegan Firefighter from Canada claims meal choices offered to him during wildfire violated his human rights. Alright, so I'm going to open that up right now. The first thing I wanted to point out is that this article is published by The Blaze, which apparently isn't a firefighting news organization, but I thought that was pretty funny, pretty fitting. Firefighting story was being published by The Blaze. So yeah, it starts off with a quote by him saying, "No one seemed to take my ethical beliefs seriously." I'll read a little excerpt from the article to give some context. During a 10-day period in July 2017, Adam Knopf was one of 1,000 Canadian firefighters who helped fight a raging wildfire in British Columbia. Now, he says that a lack of vegan meal options offered him during the conflagration was a human rights violation. Yeah. So, a lot of countries have this trend. I can't remember whether it applies in the U.S. or not, but a lot of countries hold veganism and other dietary choices, such as vegetarianism, not eating pork, basically religious or ethical dietary choices, although those overlap because religion is based on ethics for like 99% of the time. Yeah. I know the UK does it. I think some southeastern countries do it because Buddhism. I'm not sure if the United States does it, and if we don't, that's something I'd like to see happen. Make it up there with, make having dietary choices available up there with the internet, because that's a human right now, I believe. Stuff like that. Yeah. So, this article as a whole is about a vegan firefighter in Canada. Duh, that's what I said earlier. Who had trouble getting vegan options, and when there were vegan options available, they just weren't good vegan options. So, this is a problem that whenever you're traveling somewhere else, there might be a lack of stuff to eat there. I personally haven't had that problem very much because most restaurants have some sort of vegan option, but then again, that can just be a salad, and if you're doing labor intensive work like firefighting and just eating salads day after day after day, or as he said, Uh, one for one meal, his only source of protein was a single black bean. That is definitely not a healthy way to eat. That is not providing enough nutrients. That is not doing any of that. Uh, yeah. So there's a little bit of, I guess, debate here, uh, ethical quandaries about whether it's people's duties, it's the duties of organizers or of the military or of other organizations such as this, whether they should have to take into account of other people's dietary restrictions in a time of war, in a time of a fire. I personally believe, and I am biased on this, um, quite strongly, that you should have access to those options, that they should be considered important enough to prioritize all of that. I'm going to take a quick check to make sure the camera is still running. Yes, it is. Yeah. And for someone to not take those ethical beliefs seriously, especially when it could be religiously based, it doesn't have to be religiously based, but especially when it's considered a human right, that is definitely a violation of human rights. That is a violation. I mean, it's not like violations of human rights in the sense that like he's he's involved in human trafficking. He doesn't. He's in an authoritarian regime. It's a different type than that, but it's certainly valid. He actually had to leave the firefight early because, let's see. The firefighter was sent home and suspended 3 days without pay due to his inappropriate, insubordinate, unprofessional, and aggressive behavior, reports the National Post. And then the ministry that made this statement also argued that vegan status is a sincerely held lifestyle choice, but does not meet the legal definition of creed. If you're like me, I don't exactly know what creed was, but if I can look it up with my handy dandy computer, I can see that the definition of creed is a system of religious belief. And that is true. Strict veganism is not a component in many religions. The only one I can possibly think of is Buddhism. And since the firefighter was not Buddhist, I can see them not taking it as a religious issue because it's not a religious issue. But yeah, the firefighter. The firefighter went against some of the statements that the ministry made about him, including one accusation that he got into a fight and threw food at a staff member, cross-contaminating vegan patties with meat patties. And if he did do that, which I'd like to believe he didn't, that's not a good thing. But again, I'd like to believe that he didn't, and maybe if he did, then that's not good of him to do. Yeah, I'd like to end this part off by reading the last passage of the news article. Factors to determine whether or not a belief qualifies as a creed, the commission explained, are whether the belief is sincerely and deeply held, integrally linked to a person's identity, and addresses ultimate questions of human existence. Yeah, I feel like a lot of those would be covered by veganism. It is a deeply held belief. It is a sincerely held belief. If that's the definition of creed, according to them, I don't understand why they would tie it to a religious meaning, but I don't exactly know about that either. So, yeah. All right. And for my featured / new vegan product section of this episode, I'd like to talk about uh, Amy's vegan cheese pizza snacks. So these are like a unicorn to me, because I've looked into multiple stores around my area that would carry these types of things, but I have not once seen vegan cheese pizza Amy snacks pizza pockets. I'll be honest, I do kind of miss pizza pockets. Like this would be a great substitute for that, and I would be happy with this. I just miss kind of having that, which I mean is annoying, but they look pretty good. I think my stepmom tried some. She said they were very good, and that she would buy them again. Yeah. If any of you know where I can get some around here, I guess I probably shouldn't give out where I am living, but if any of you who know me in real life know where I can get some, that would be great to know. Yeah, so I used their find my location, where to buy sort of thing, and yeah, it doesn't look like I have any stores near me that carry the product, so that's a shame, but that's how life rolls sometimes. Yeah. Anyways, I'd like to thank all of you for watching this third episode of Generic Vegan Podcast. I don't even think I have a title for this one. I'll probably add a title when I do the YouTube video for it, after I edit it. So yeah, hope y'all have a wonderful summer, a wonderful evening, a wonderful whenever time you're watching this, and see you all next week.